Men will literally tell women to pick better men, as in like to become able to identify better partner choices, and then get angry when we identify that men are mostly not great partner choices and we choose the bear. Also, the pick better narrative completely ignores the fact that people are able to conceal who they are, and men who intend on controlling, exploiting, and being violent towards women have no interest or motivation to reveal those facts about themselves before the woman is committed in some way. Like, as if bad men are out here going around with a sign on their faces saying, I'm a bad guy. And with all the data available to us, we are discovering that it is extremely difficult to rationalize being with a man because the odds are very good that he will be a bad man or an exploitative man or an objectifying man in one way or another, and we are choosing not a man. Get out of here. We are picking better men. We're picking the bear.
From the outside, it is often difficult and draining to deal with women stuck in domestic violence or otherwise abusive situation. When I was working as a victim advocate, many of the officers I spoke to expressed an exhaustion at answering calls to the same house, removing a violent man or offering safety to the woman, only to have justice thwarted by her refusal to press charges or by her welcoming him back. Part of this can be attributed to empathy fatigue, defined by Cleveland Clinic as a person's inability to care. It's the negative consequence of repeated exposure to stressful or traumatic events. However, from the inside, an abusive situation is difficult to leave for several reasons. Lundy Bancroft, author of Why Does He Do That?, notes that the position of an abused woman is often a lonely one. Abusive men like to perpetuate the lie that they have lost control. But given that they don't lash out at other men or in public situations, such as with coworkers, bosses, or acquaintances, the truth is that they are well aware of the importance of controlling how they are perceived by others. It is well established in the many cases of high-profile abuse that female victims are often given less goodwill and believed far less often, while male abusers often have their actions explained away and are given way too much leeway. Bancroft notes, one of the obstacles to recognizing chronic mistreatment in relationships is that most abusive men simply don't seem like abusers. They have many good qualities, including times of kindness, warmth, and humor, especially in the early period of a relationship. An abuser's friends may think the world of him. He may have a successful work life and have no problems with drugs or alcohol. He may simply not fit anyone's image of a cruel or intimidating person. So when a woman feels her relationship spinning out of control, it is unlikely to occur to her that her partner is an abuser. The Am I an Asshole subreddit illustrates how pervasive this way of thinking is, as they will often write out stories of obvious mistreatment but still hesitate to call it what it is: abuse. For example, I, 42 male, moved in with my lovely girlfriend, 28 female, a few months ago before this craziness started, and we've been dating for a year before that. She's an excellent cook and really funny, so life with her has been great. But since this incident, she's been snappy at me and lost some of her perkiness and good humor. She always liked to mix fancy drinks in big mason jars to drink around the house. Now, mind you, I've actually been a bartender before. Her drinks are not fancy. They're not even drinks. She usually just squeezes a lemon and puts some ice on her water, or she makes green tea and cools it in the fridge with mint or whatever. And the jars usually come from some grocery or the other. She saves jars from bulk peanut butter, bean jars, whatever has a big glass jar, she's going to end up saving it to drink from it. Before moving in, I asked about the jars because I thought it was really strange. I mean, she owns normal glasses. Her justification was that the jars are bigger and therefore she doesn't forget to drink water throughout the day. At the time, I kind of assumed this was some weight loss thing she didn't want to actually tell me because she was embarrassed, as she's a little bit chubby, so I let it go. But now I've moved in. The jars were annoying me more and more. She doesn't keep every one of them, but she has like 10 in their own shelf, and it seems like such a stupid waste of space in our small kitchen. Besides, we have glasses. She doesn't have to drink from a jar. So earlier this week, I was tidying up the kitchen while she slept in, and I just threw them out. I think the kitchen looks much better. We have more storage for pots, and she can still prepare her fancy drinks in normal glasses. She was pissed. I've never seen her so mad. Her main point was that the jars never bothered anyone and it's none of my business, but now I live here too, so I think it is. During the fight, and this is where I might be the asshole, I mentioned that it's stupid to want special recipients just to drink flavored water. It's not like it's a cocktail, and she's only doing it to lose weight anyway. She went really quiet at that and walked away from me. I gave her time to get over it, but it's been a few days and she's still moping around, and I noticed she doesn't seem excited about her fancy drinks. That's making me feel kind of bad, but I still think I was in the right to throw out her jars, as they were just garbage. Reddit, should I bite the bullet and just apologize? Am I the asshole? Another case reads, am I the asshole for ruining my girlfriend's blanket she made by hand? I know the title might sound bad, but hear me out. Me, 33, and my girlfriend, 21, met online 3 years ago and moved in about a year ago, and it has been calm and amazing living with her. I genuinely love her so much, and I want to get married someday. But recently, she hasn't been giving me much attention and has been knitting a lot, a hobby of hers. She really enjoys it, but it just makes me feel lonely because she doesn't spend as much time with me as she did in the past. She knitted a blanket over the past half a year, and she just got done with it, so I thought she would just take a break and spend more time with me. But she just went into making another blanket when I asked why she couldn't stop for a few weeks and spend time with me. But they told me that we spend enough time together, and this is just a hobby, and she enjoys, but she is sorry and will try to spend a bit more time with me. She did start spending a bit more time with me, but not a lot, and it just really frustrated me, so after I came home after work and see her knitting in her chair in the front room, she just got off work an hour before. I just blow a fuse and yell at her for never spending enough time with me, and she left to stay at a friend's house for the night. I regret yelling at her because she has been abused in the past, and yelling is a trigger, but I was just so frustrated, but what I think I did next was worse. I took the blanket that she made that was laying on our bed and cut it and threw it away. When she came home the following day, I apologized for yelling at her and said it would never happen again, and we talked for a bit and came to an agreement that we both need to spend more time with each other, and we can't keep getting caught up in our work and hobbies. So I thought after it was going to be fine and we wouldn't talk about this again. But a few minutes later, she started dinner, and when she went to throw away the onion skin, she saw her blanket in the trash, and when she pulled it out, she was furious. She ran into the front room where I was watching TV and screamed about how inconsiderate of her I am, and how I'm an awful boyfriend, and this and that. After a bit of screaming, I tried to apologize, but she said, "Fuck off, you old cunt," and packed a small bag and went to her mother's. She is not answering any of my calls and texts, and I'm really getting worried. What do I do, and am I the asshole? Perhaps one of the most egregious is this next one. I, 26 male, destroyed my girlfriend's 26 female plants in a fit of rage, and I think she may leave me. Okay, I am a long-time Reddit observer, but first-time poster, so I apologize if I do anything wrong. I've been in a relationship with the girl of my dreams for almost 7 years. She is the light of my life. We met in college, and it was love at first sight for me. She is the most loving, goal-minded, smart, creative, gentle person I know. Our relationship has always been pretty peaceful. Even when we fight, it's not so much fighting as it is just talking out our frustrations and maybe some tears shed. I've had a rough couple of months. I got laid off, rejected from my top choice grad school, had to dump a huge chunk of our savings into a new car when mine took a crap. Looking back, I think all this contributed to what happened that night. I truly feel like I blacked out. I've never had an episode like this in my life. Last week, we were arguing about some financial decisions, like trying to come to an agreement on. Like she always does when an argument has drained her for the day, she sighed, rubbed her eyes, stood up and kissed my cheek, and said she was making some tea. We have tea every night, and asked if I wanted some before bed. I always know this is a sign that she can't productively contribute to the argument anymore right now. She needs to refocus and recharge. For whatever reason, I didn't accept it that night. I asked her to sit down so we could continue. I was sick of arguing and wanted to push through until it was over. She responded that she would not be contributing for the rest of the night and that I am welcome to come to bed whenever I'm ready. She put my tea on the table in front of me and took hers to the bedroom. When she walked out of the kitchen, I called for her 3 more times, insisting that she come back to talk, and she ignored me. Something in me snapped. Instead of having tea, I started drinking. I drink maybe once or twice a year. All we had in the house even was a bottle of nasty brandy. She has this room in the back of her house that is mostly windows. She's put a lot of time and money into it. It's her plant room. She put in new floors and custom shelves that she built herself to hold plants. My girlfriend's plant room has always been her special space. Her career is pretty demanding and does a lot of speaking with important people, and at the end of the day, she is often looking to escape somewhere. She has a bookshelf to keep her favorite books out there and all these cool-looking plants. One of them got passed down from like her great-grandma or someone, and a lot of them are from other countries. I think she names them, or maybe that's the actual names of the plants. I don't know. Sometimes I'd go out there too to spend time with her, and she would always be wiping the leaves and gushing about the way the light is coming in, or how excited she was about the new plant she was expecting in the mail. Her plant room was probably her most favorite space. The walls literally looked green because she had so many. IDK, I couldn't really keep up. I just liked to be near her. Sometimes I'd open the blinds from the house to a room to just watch her in the rocking chair reading around her plants. Anyway, so I snapped. I literally do not know. I backed my truck up and put every plant in the room in the back. And I took them to a pond a few blocks from our house and dumped them in. Still drinking. Amazing I didn't crash my new truck. I passed out on the couch. The next morning I got up not remembering a lot until I saw her through the open blinds sitting in the empty room. I immediately ran out there. My stomach hurt thinking about what I had done. Her eyes were so wide and full of tears. She kept taking these shaky breaths and looking around like she was seeing it for the first time over and over. I told her I'm sorry. She asked what happened. I told her. She asked, "My great-grandma's Ivy too?" I said yes. She did this little sob thing. It was really quiet. She's never been a loud crier. Ever since then, my best friend is gone. She goes to work and comes home and sits in the empty room and looks out the window. She looks sad every night. I miss her. I miss her making tea for us before bed. I'm not saying I miss the tea. I'm capable of that myself. I just miss all the little ways she made my life complete. She was the most full of life I've ever seen a person. Sometimes she'd just grab me as I'm walking by and get up on her tiptoes and kiss me like it was the first time. My actions are killing me. She drifts past me like a ghost when she's near. She doesn't kiss me, doesn't return my affection. I want to start rebuilding her room, but don't even know where to start. Please, Reddit, help me. If there is any hope for me to get my best friend and hopefully future wife back, I need help. A common theme in these stories is downplaying the feelings of women these men are supposed to love. Destructive acts to control the feelings or behaviors of their partners, and of course, acting out in ways that are so outlandish, they serve to gaslight women into thinking that they are the ones to blame. Bancroft notes, "When I was new to counseling abusive men, my own loss of control myth collided repeatedly with the realities contained in the stories of my early clients. Kenneth admitted that he used to dim the lights and then insist to Jennifer that nothing had changed, trying to make her feel crazy. He also stands out in my mind for his outspoken criticisms of his group mates for their insensitivity towards their partners, despite his own actions. James told me that he sometimes would hide something his partner was looking for, such as her pocketbook or car keys, wait for her to become frantic and frustrated looking for it, and then put it back out in plain view and insist that it had been there all along. Mario measured the distance from his house to the supermarket, and when his wife reported going out to shop during the day, he would check the odometer of her car to make sure she hadn't gone anywhere else. While the myth of lost control can lead a woman to forgive or overlook abuse, a larger problem is the myriad of conflicting ways in which she is advised to react to his behavior. Additionally, women are taught from a young age to find validation and self-actualization through romantic partnerships, and thus to value their romantic partners more than their own desires. Furthermore, the blame is constantly shifted onto women when they find themselves in abusive relationships, as if she has not been influenced by society as to her self-worth and blamed for not choosing a good man. This ignores that many men hide their abusive and controlling natures. Some wait months into a relationship to become possessive, while others can wait years, until mortgages and children make leaving difficult, and her social circle has all been driven away. As Bancroft writes, "The woman knows from living with the abusive man that there are no simple answers. Friends say, he's mean, but she knows many ways in which he's been good to her. Friends say, he treats you that way because he can get away with it. I would never let someone treat me that way. But she knows at the times when she puts her foot down the most firmly, he responds by becoming his angriest and most intimidating. When she stands up to him, he makes her pay for it, sooner or later. Friends say, leave him, but she knows it won't be that easy. He'll promise to change. He'll get friends and relatives to feel sorry for him and pressure her to give him another chance. He'll get severely depressed, causing her to worry whether he'll be alright. And depending on what style of abuser he is, she may know that he will become dangerous when she tries to leave him. She may even be concerned that he will try to take her children away from her, as some abusers do. The suggestion to simply choose a better man ignores that abuse is complicated, and at its core, that all women think that they have been chosen well. Placing the blame on victims of abuse instead of offering understanding, however tedious, will only ever support abusive men, and continue to normalize that women should overlook harmful behavior from their partners if they really love them. This, dear viewers, is where we part. I feel like I've been collecting Am I the Asshole things for like a really long time. And yeah, some of them are probably fake, but like, they can't all be fake, right? And the considerable amount of them where it's like, guy does a really shitty thing, and he's only upset that he got in trouble for it. He's not upset that he did a bad thing. It's so common, and it leaves me sitting here thinking, Jesus Christ, someone in that woman's life needs to shake her and tell her that's not acceptable. Thankfully, I do think that Am I the Asshole Reddit forum does work well for the women's side, and that people are pretty open about that's abusive, you should go. And that can offer some support that lets a woman know that, yeah, she's not going crazy. Like, she's not the guy in the wrong. She's the one, like, who is the victim here. And that can kind of help her to get out of the way, I say. But I just find this very depressing in general. There's so many stories like this. Anyhow, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!